I was 60 years old when my husband died, and that was the day I realized love can fade, families can betray, and sometimes an old dusty painting can hold more power than millions of dollars. When the lawyer read my husband's will, my hands trembled on my lap. I expected something. Maybe not everything, but something that showed I still mattered. But instead, my husband's siblings got everything. The company he built from nothing. The houses. The accounts. Me. His wife of 35 years. All I got was an old painting. Just one. A painting I'd seen hanging in his study for decades. One I never thought much about. A sunset on a farm. Nothing special. Everyone in that cold room laughed when they heard it. An old painting. That's all he left you, his sister mocked. I sat there, humiliated. My heart ached more than when I buried him. Because in that moment, I realized his family thought I was nothing. A decoration in his life, easy to erase. But they didn't know the truth. That painting would destroy them. I know what you're thinking. How could a painting change everything? Why would a dying man leave his wife nothing but a frame covered in dust? I asked myself the same questions. For weeks, I stared at it every night, as if it held the answer. And then one evening, I dropped it while cleaning. The frame cracked, and tucked behind the canvas, folded so carefully, was a photo. When I opened it, my knees gave out. It was a picture of my husband, much younger, holding a baby. But here's the thing. I never had children with him. I clutched that photo like it was burning my hands. A date scribbled on the back, 1989. I whispered, "Who are you, little one?" For days, I searched every drawer, every box, every file my husband left behind. Nothing. No letters. No birth certificate. But the look in his eyes in that photo, it wasn't casual. It was love. It was pride. He was a father. And suddenly, his decision made sense. He left his greedy family the company. But he left me the truth. When I showed his siblings the photo, they laughed again. "Fake!" "Probably something she planted," one said. But the anger in their eyes betrayed them. They knew. That baby wasn't a secret to them. It was a threat. I realized then they had worked all along to keep me in the dark. To erase the evidence of his child, because that child had more right to the company than any of them. And now, I was the only one holding proof. I couldn't sleep for nights. My husband had trusted me with this photo for a reason. He wanted me to find that child. But where do you start when all you have is a 30-year-old picture? I went to his old friends. Some shut their doors in my face. Others pretended not to remember. Finally, one old business partner whispered to me, "Your husband loved someone before you." A woman named Claire. She disappeared, but she had a baby. My chest tightened. Could this be true? Had my husband hidden an entire family from me? Still, I pressed on. Because this wasn't just about me anymore. It was about giving that child what was stolen. It took months. Endless phone calls, dusty records, following trails that led to dead ends. Until one day I found her. Not Claire, the child. A grown man now. His name was Daniel. He worked as a mechanic in a small town 2 hours away. He had no idea who I was. I stood outside a shop, hands trembling, heart racing. When he came out, wiping grease off his hands, I saw it immediately. The same eyes as my husband. The same smile. I whispered, "Daniel." He looked at me, confused. "Do I know you?" And with tears streaming down my face, I held out the photo. "This was your father." At first, he didn't believe me. "My mom never talked about him," he said. "She raised me alone. She said he was gone before I was even born." I nodded, broken inside. He wasn't gone. He built a life. He built a company. And he left you out of it, but not because he didn't love you. Because his family wouldn't let him. Daniel stared at me for a long time. I saw the storm in his eyes, anger, grief, hope. Finally, he whispered, "Show me everything." I showed him the will, the photo, the records I had gathered. And together, we made a decision. If his family could betray me, they could not betray him. We hired a lawyer, filed a claim. The siblings laughed again when the papers arrived. A mechanic, claiming billions. "This is ridiculous," they sneered. But I wasn't afraid anymore. Because I knew the truth. And truth, no matter how long it hides, always finds a way to burn through lies. The trial was brutal. They painted me as a bitter widow, desperate to drag strangers into the family. But then, the photo was shown. My husband's handwriting on the back. Witnesses who remembered Claire. DNA tests that silenced the room. When the judge spoke, his words cut through years of betrayal. This company belongs by right to his son. Gasps filled the room. His siblings turned pale. Daniel stood tall beside me, eyes shining with both victory and sorrow. You'd think that was the end. That we walked away, pockets full, hearts healed. But here's the truth. Daniel didn't want the company. I'm a mechanic, he said quietly. This world of greed, it killed him. I don't want it. Instead, he signed papers transferring everything back to me. His inheritance, his birthright, all of it. I just wanted to know him, he said softly. And now, through you, I do. So here I am, 60 years old, not a CEO, not a millionaire. Just a woman who once felt invisible, but who carried the truth. I live in a small house now. I keep that painting above my mantel. The cracks in its frame remind me of the night my life changed. And sometimes, Daniel visits. He calls me Mom. We sit together under that old painting, and I tell him stories about the man he never met. My husband thought he left me with nothing. But in truth, he left me with everything. Because love, legacy, and truth are worth more than any company. And sometimes, the smallest inheritance can hold the biggest power.